Peace and war. For as long as humans have built civilizations, these two massive opposing forces have really defined our entire story. One builds us up, and the other just tears it all down. So today, we're going to deconstruct these fundamental ideas to really understand the architecture of our world.
And it really is this simple. On one side, you have peace. That's the engine of everything good. Growth, cooperation, harmony. And on the other side, war. The catalyst for conflict, destruction, and just unimaginable suffering. They're like two sides of the same human coin. And how we balance them? Well, that determines the fate of generations.
Okay, so let's start by diving into the darker of these two forces. Because really, to understand peace, we first have to understand the anatomy of war, what it is, where it comes from, and the long, long shadow it casts over everything.
Now, at its very core, war isn't just random violence. The key word on this slide is organized. It's an intentional, structured conflict between groups. It's driven by some pretty deep-seated causes and objectives. You could say it's the deliberate breakdown of peaceful relations. And war isn't just one single thing. It wears a lot of different masks. It can tear a nation apart from the inside, like a civil war, or it can pull the whole planet into conflict, like the world wars. Sometimes it's a tense, silent standoff of ideas, a Cold War. And today, it can be fought quietly with keyboards and remote-controlled drones.
So, where does all this come from? Well, it's almost never just one thing. It's usually this toxic cocktail of different pressures, a struggle for political power, fighting over economic resources, disputes over a piece of land, and you mix all that with a dangerous combination of ideology, nationalism, and just plain fear.
And the price of that conflict, it is always, tragically, paid in human lives. We're talking millions. And not just soldiers on a battlefield, but innocent civilians who get caught in the crossfire. This is the irreversible, absolutely devastating cost of war.
But here's the thing. The devastation doesn't just stop when the fighting is over. The scars of war, they linger for generations. Economies are completely shattered. Survivors carry this deep psychological trauma. Entire populations are forced from their homes, and even the environment itself can be poisoned for decades.
It all kind of boils down to this timeless saying, right? When you really add up the true cost, the lives lost, the destruction, the trauma that echoes through time, it becomes crystal clear that in the final calculation of war, humanity as a whole always loses.
Okay, now that we've taken a hard look at war, let's shift gears. It's time to explore a much more hopeful vision. Let's look at the architecture of war's opposite, peace.
And this right here is such a vital redefinition. Peace is not just a passive thing. It's not a vacuum or fighting is stopped. No, true peace is an active, dynamic condition. It's something you have to build and constantly maintain through justice, equality, and cooperation. It's a verb, not just a noun.
And you can think of it like a structure that's built from the ground up. It has to start with us, with personal inner peace. That then grows into social harmony in our communities, and from there it scales up to a stable nation, and finally to cooperation between all nations. See how each level supports the next?
The benefits of building this structure, they are immense. They're tangible. In peaceful societies, you're not spending all your resources on weapons. You're investing them in progress. And that creates this amazing positive feedback loop of economic growth, incredible innovation in education, and better healthcare for everyone.
Okay, so let's get into the practical side of things. We've got these two opposing futures, war and peace. So what are the real forces, the actual institutions that tip the scales and push us down one path or the other? Well, on a global scale, you have huge institutions like the United Nations. Its entire job is to act as a buffer against war. It does this by trying to mediate conflicts, sending peacekeepers to dangerous regions, delivering humanitarian aid, and just generally championing the cause of human rights all over the world. And this is absolutely crucial. While conflicts between nations are pretty much inevitable, violence is not. There are established, peaceful ways to solve problems. We're talking diplomacy, mediation, legal arbitration, even just economic cooperation, which can make fighting economically stupid. And then there's technology. It's a powerful force that can push us in either direction. It's a real double-edged sword. It can be used to forge these unbelievable tools of destruction, but that very same ingenuity can also build tools for peace, connecting us all through global communication and helping us solve humanity's biggest problems together.
And we absolutely have to talk about the immense influence of the media. It has this incredible power to shape what billions of people think. It can fuel war by spreading propaganda and lies, or it can promote peace by building understanding, empathy, and an awareness of our shared humanity. That's a huge responsibility.
All right, so let's bring this whole massive global concept down to the most fundamental level there is, you. Because the grand architecture of peace isn't just built by governments or big institutions. It's built by individuals, one person at a time.
And maybe the most powerful tool we have in our toolbox is education. Why? Because education dismantles the very things that lead to conflict in the first place: ignorance and prejudice. It teaches us how to resolve conflicts without violence, to respect human rights, to respect other cultures, and to think for ourselves instead of just blindly following hateful ideas.
This profound quote from Gandhi it cuts right to the heart of it all. Retaliation, revenge, violence. It just creates a never-ending cycle of more violence, and everyone ends up worse off. Peace is the only path that actually breaks that cycle and lets us build a future where everyone can see.
So look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Your daily actions, my daily actions, they have a real impact. When you decide to reject hate speech, you're promoting tolerance. When you respect diversity, you're actively reducing prejudice. And when you choose to solve conflicts in your own life peacefully, you are laying another brick in the foundation of global harmony.
At the end of the day, the balance between peace and war, it's not a done deal. The future is not some fixed destination, and history is being written by the choices we make every single day. So the final question isn't for me, it's for you. What role will you play?